Hi, I'm Corey. Welcome to Creating with Scraps. This video is a little bit of an experiment. I had shared on a previous video that I received some Happy Meal that was beyond generous, and I had indicated that I was going to make a journal with it, and I've started that. And I've had people ask that I just turn on the camera when I'm making something, so that's what I'm doing. I'm generally a person who plans things out. I'll come up with something or have something in mind that I want to make, and then I'll share it with you folks. But this one is not that way. I'm just kind of winging it, as it were, and not a strength of mine, so this will be interesting. Anyway, I received from Marilyn a wonderful package of a variety of things, papers and ephemera and notes and bits and all of that, and it was beyond generous, and I've received a lot of really thoughtful, deeply appreciated Happy Meal recently. So I thought I would make a journal with it, and my challenge to myself was I could only use things that I received that day. I had a couple of Happy Meals. One of them had this bit of lace. Well, actually, it had a little bit more. Where did I put it? It had an old bit of lace that looked like this, and there was some stains and such on it. And I used that for part of the cover. So far, the only things that I have added to this journal are this ribbon, this sari silk ribbon, because there was no ribbon, and the chipboard for the cover. And that's it. The rest of it is all from the Happy Meal. And I did the basic construction of the journal. I used some cereal box chipboard, and then the package was wrapped in green wrapping paper, so I used that to cover the chipboard. And there were a variety of pieces. Some was made ephemera, some were pieces to make ephemera, and some of it was just paper. And so a lot of the paper, I shouldn't say just, it was wonderful paper. So that's what I have used. The vintage ledger is what I used to cover the inside. And then I just created a 5-signature journal with the items that were included and sewed that into a background. Now this is kind of like, I don't know where I've got any more. It's a little bit of a mesh type thing. And I threw it in one of these bins because I got it on that same day. Oh, here it is. It's kind of like stiff. There's a name for it. I'm sure people that sew know what that is. But it's this stiff muslin almost looking stuff. And I used it to sew the pages on to this. This is the base that I glued into the made book. And then this was a folio that was part of the Happy Meal. And there were bits and pieces in it that I took out to put in my bin to add to the other different pages. And I glued that on the back. I had originally intended to glue it in the front, but I decided that it worked great as a back page. And one of the items, or two of the items that were in the package were bingo cards, hard old bingo cards. And I just glued them back to back and then covered it with collage medium to make a writing board. And so that's what that is. And this morning I had started making pieces to include in the journal. And I thought, you know what? I told people that I would turn the camera on when I do that. So that's what I'm doing. Turning the camera on, and we'll make together. Now, I'll show you this in a minute, but what I did was sort it into 3 bins, basically, the items. These are pieces that are ready to be embellished or made up to be embellished. So these envelopes were included, and these embossed bags, and these smaller treat bags, and a Jibineri style envelope, a glassine bag, and then a mini envelope, and a completed cluster. There were treats inside this, but I intend to use it as a place inside the journal. And then library card pocket kind of a thing. And these I thought about putting in the signatures as part of the pages, but then I realized they make great journaling spots. So there's a couple of those, and I put those there. A sealed envelope bag, and another one of those I think that'll make a great journaling spot. I'll just tuck it in It's a bit from a notebook, I guess, and then a bag, and then another embossed bag. So those are pieces that can go in as bases and then either embellish or not. Oh, this one too, another envelope. This one looks like it's ink dyed. So I sorted it into that bin, and then this bin is mostly just paper bits. Loose paper, offcuts of pages, or pages that I put in the book itself, some embossed paper, some old ledger. So things that I had originally thought on the inside cover and in the back, I would use these pieces. I sewed around them and put them like this as the inside, but they were a little small, and I thought, well, maybe we could use them some other way. So that's that. And then this bin is pieces to make into ephemera. Now I used Seth Apter Vintage Beeswax embossing powder and embossed these things, one because it makes them sturdier, and two just because I like it. So this whole bin is things that I can make things with. And so that's kind of how I've sorted them. And that's why these pieces are in there. And this lace, and there was another bit of fabric, I believe, that was in there. So I'm not going to do it long by any means. But I thought I would show you, get started and show you. And then they've got a setup here of things that are completely done. Like this tag was part of the Happy Mail. And I probably will untie this and make this into 3 tags instead of 1, simply because, well, why not? And there's some playing cards with my initials on them, and I thought those would make great pieces that are already done just to tuck inside of pockets. And then these bits were completed items, but I may add something to them. I may add a die cut or something. Just, you know, why not? And I won't do all of it today, but I'll get started on it and show you how I'm thinking. In fact, I really like that, so maybe this will be our first piece. I am grabbing my Tim Holtz stapler. So I am going to staple this piece here. And I liked this one. I just added some, there was a die cut, there was a bag of die cuts, and I really liked them, so I think I'll do that. And just glue this down. So again, this is way outside of my comfort zone because, like I said, I normally have things all planned out and I know what I'm going to make. And this is just kind of a, turn on the camera and have a free-for-all, basically. Now, I will give myself permission to use Tracy labels on these because I often don't think something is completed unless it has a Tracy label on it. So I'm going to allow myself that grace. And I just really, really like Tracy labels. There may be other people's labels in here too. I honestly don't know. But most of what I have is from Tracy Fox. So that's what I use most of the time. That one's too small. Oh, here we go. That might be pretty together. Yeah, I kind of like that. I like the balance of sizes. All right. So I'll put this on and call one piece done. Now I'll probably put this on top of something else, a bag or something. Oh, maybe the littler one would work better. That's a little too small for that. So just make sure the white edges aren't white any longer. And you know what I should do is I should run through the journal and show you what I've got so far. And I'll put that right there. And maybe I'll put this, well, let's see what page it's going to go on. I haven't put any pieces on any of the pages yet. I guess I could go quickly through the signature. This is the card that she made me as part of it, and so I just put it as the front piece. And in fact, what I'm thinking I'm probably going to do, instead of embellishing every page, which is generally what I do, I think I'll use this as my journey, this injury journey, basically, because this was all a get well, thank you package kind of a thing. And maybe I'll put all the cards that I've received or the little handmade pieces that I've received in this journal. So I got a place here I can decorate. And sometimes I used washi or other paper because some of the paper that I received is really fragile, so I used it to reinforce the edges. And that's what this black is here. It's just a bit of washi, and I reinforced the edges of this really old, very cool paper. And then this one is, I believe it's a side open bag. It's a dry embossed bag, yeah. And so I can tuck a card or something in there. And yeah, there's just, these are the pages I've got so far. This glassine bag had, maybe the die cuts were in this. There was something in this glassine bag. So I just included that when I was making the signature. This paper was taller, and there were 2 sheets of it. So I cut it in half and glued it front to back. So it's in 2 different signatures. And there you go. And I think what I'll probably do is glue this top to bottom and make a tuck here, or a pocket here. That's my guess. And then I'll probably put, you know what, maybe I'll do this. I've got those pieces that I mentioned. Maybe I'll put that here on top of the back side of that glassine bag. All I did with the glassine bag was fold it so that it still opens at the top, but I was able to put it into the signature that way. And maybe I'll just do this. Yeah, I think I will. Okay. See, I get sidetracked pretty easily. I'll just glue this in and on, and I'll probably put something else on the back of it, this, but we'll worry about that in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to glue that down and in. Don't know how well it'll glue to that glassine bag, but we'll find out, won't we? And if it doesn't work real well, I can, that's the gusset from the glassine bag. What I may do, you know what I probably will do, is just get some of my packing tape and tape this down, because I am going to put, this looks like it's the back of cardboard or chipboard type packaging. So if I put this like this, I know it'll stay put, and then I'll go through that paper bin and put something else on the back of that, maybe an envelope or something. Anyway, this was a typing page in there, a book that was in that Happy Mail, and then the back of this handmade paper, and then the other side of that dry embossed envelope, and then the back side of that old dictionary or something. This is the back of the actual card. She referenced Lemony Snicket and a young adult children's book series. And that's been my experience since last November with this leg. So I wanted to include that. Here is some vintage ledger. And that's another bit of the same ledger dated 1893. So it's really, really cool. Looks like she dyed this, maybe, I'm not sure, but there's a sheen to it. And then maybe some stamped packaging paper. And this is a piece of file folder. There were 2 of those. And one I put in here as part of the signature, and one I put here as the spine cover. This looks like an insert into like a little mini notebook. And a glassine bag, and again, I'll just use this to tuck. Maybe I'll put a strap or a flap when I've got the pages to put in, or the cards and such to put in. I'll put a strap around the edge of this to close it, or maybe a piece of Velcro or something to close that up. And then this was handmade paper that she made, and I'll probably do the same thing with this. I'll glue it along the top and the bottom, or I'll use washi along the top and the bottom to make a pocket right here, because that's the center of the signature, and I'll close it up to make a pocket for another card. And the other side of that glassine bag, and the envelope, and the file folder. I'll probably glue that down to make a tuck of some sort. And here is the back of that packaging paper. It looks like she inked it and stamped it and put some postage stamps on it. Maybe that's alcohol ink. I'm not sure, but there's a sheen on the front of it. And then the back side of that vintage ledger. And here what I did was I trimmed it down, and then I laid it on top of each other just to make it a little bit more durable because it is old. And just fold there. This was a paper bag. There was something inside of it. And I just folded a bit to tuck it in, and I thought maybe I'd put a bookmark or something there, or maybe one of the pre-made ephemera bits that I was gifted. I'll put that in there or on top here, something like that, and then make a tuck spot there, and then this bag is opened at the top. So there's a tuck spot there as well. Another piece of, I know there was a single piece of this really cool paper, and so I just used a piece of the graph paper that was included and attached it to that graph paper because the graph paper was sturdier. And so part of this page is the graph paper, and then part of the page is this looked like dictionary page of some sort. And then another calendar insert, and this one was just reinforced, again, because it was older, with some of that faux vintage cellophane tape. And this one has a note inside, which is why I wasn't able to make myself glue it closed. It says, birch bark and bits, heat bonded to paper. And I just thought that was really cool. And it looks like it was sealed with something, maybe Mod Podge or Collage Medium or something. But it's really cool. And then this is a pocket I made with some stationery to put in the center of that signature. This almost looks like file folder, but there's a bit of texture to it. And then another gusseted embossed bag. And this was, she had included some of these junk mail things, and she'd already covered this one and used it. So these are the things that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to put in here. I'll put the notes in for sure, but like this Pennsylvania Dutch chipboard is really thick. So I may tuck it in or I may not, just based on it. But anyway, I used this as part of the center signature. There's a pocket here, and then closes up. And then the back side of all of those pieces. And here is the other bit from 1937 of that ledger, notebook ledger, and that faux aged cellophane. And here is the other side of that one where this page was a little bit wider, and I just reinforced that edge to make it stronger. There was a drawing on here, and I don't know what year it was, there wasn't, but it's about the notes, the science notes from a science experiment. And another bit of that ledger, and this was some rice paper, just a loose piece of rice paper, or I guess, or maybe it's mulberry paper. Maybe it is mulberry paper. And then another different style of the glassine bag. And then this looks like some vintage wrapping paper that I just glued together. I folded it over, glued together, and then sewed the edges to make another pocket for a card or something. And this looks like handmade embossed paper. It's really super, super thick. Oh, here is one of the die cuts. And this will definitely be glue closed and made into a pocket. I may put a bit of lace or something on here first, I'm not sure. And then I'll glue it together to make a pocket. And the backs of those, the back of that side. And this is the back of that glassine. I just made a top tuck out of that. And the back of the mulberry and the back of that second piece of that ledger. This was a long envelope that had treats in it. And so what I did was I cut this long envelope in half, and I gave myself a little bit extra, I trimmed a little bit extra off each piece, and then made a hinge to glue this in. So I've got this one on the front side and this one on the back side. So they were together one long piece. And I used the extra bit from the middle to make a hinge so that I could put that in a signature. And so this does still open at the bottom, which would have been the top, because it's this kind of opening. I haven't glued this closed. I thought that might kind of make a fun belly band or something. I'm not 100% sure. Nope, that won't work because I've taped it down. Well, I could do it like this and make this into a tuck. Maybe I will do that. Maybe I'll make that into a tuck. But bottom line is it's a loose pocket. There's an opening at the top as a pocket. And then this tissue paper was in there, so I just covered a piece of graph paper that was also included. I think it was the bottom of this one, because this was a real long experiment grid paper sheet. So I covered that with collage medium and then included that. And the other piece that I mentioned earlier, the discussion for that piece. And some packing paper. It looks like she stamped on this packing paper. Real pretty. And this was some vintage paper that she also had included. And it was really long. So rather than cutting it, I folded it up and then back down. It's kind of an accordion plate to make a little tuck pocket there. And then this was an envelope that the note came in. And so what I'll do, I sewed it in as the center of the signature. I opened it up, sewed it in, then I'll ink the edges, glue these back down like this, and then I'll use one of the embellishment bits that she sent to close this up, and that's another place to tuck a card or something. And then here's the back side of that. It was torn, so I just used a little bit of that faux tape to close it up, but you can see there's another pocket there. And then this is the back side of that, the back side of the data, the notebook paper, thick paper. Maybe wrap something around this because it's nice and sturdy. And then save these really thin ones. Like you can see here, this is already torn. So I am going to sort of fix that. When I use the cellophane tape or the faux vintage cellophane tape, a lot of times I'll just run it over the glue stick to make sure that it's extra sticky. And I will, you know what else I could do? You know what I probably will do? I'm going to go with plan B. In the bin of things that she had included, the pre-made things that she had included, were some little mini whale tails, which I thought were adorable. They're smaller than the standard. So I think what I'll do is fold that over, give the edges a little ink, and I'll glue this in place on that tear, and that'll strengthen or reinforce that tear. At least that's what I'm thinking. I have no plan as far as what's going where. I'm certain every page won't be decorated because then it'll get way too thick. And again, if my goal is to share the things I was gifted, I want to make sure I have plenty of room for that because that's the priority with this. So maybe I'll put it down. Put this down here and fold it over, make it somewhat straight there. That kind of reinforces that tear so it doesn't have a chance to tear more. And then that back of the envelope that I had mentioned. And then here again is that folio. It had an elastic closure that went around, but I wanted to glue this in. So I'm still debating how I want to close this. Do I want kind of a prong piece to come up and fold down? Do I want to tie something? I'm not 100% sure, but I'll get back to that at some point. All I did was, and here's the back, I poked an eyelet through it to make this kind of a super, super, super simple closure. Actually, I think what I may do is tie it back there and then use this type of a closure for the front. I don't remember if I said it or not, and if I did, I apologize. But these were pieces of ready-made ephemera. This bookmark was a ready-made piece. This embossed, shiny, shimmery paper was a piece that was included, and then this ephemera was the ready-made piece. And I just combined the three to make the cover of this book. So there's the journal itself. I generally prefer to sew in the signatures with a sewing machine, but it works the exact same way with a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. So that is one pretty blank page. So let me look and see what I've got and what I could put in. You know what? That might be a really good one for a belly band. And the paper that she sent, this one's a little thin for a belly band, but there was this cool piece of packing paper. I thought, there's that one. There's two of these. I thought maybe this might be a good belly band piece. But maybe not because it's really stretchy, which is kind of cool. And then in the ready-made ephemera that she sent, I thought there was, there is a piece in here. I thought this might make a good belly band too. So maybe, This was a blank window card. You know what? Maybe for stability's sake, I won't use this one. Maybe I'll try something else. I thought this was really cool too. It's a report card comments. I'll definitely trim this down a little bit and put it on the back of something because I really like it. But I think this would make a good belly band. I just want to, oh, that's butterflies. I guess that's butterflies. So maybe it needs to go this way, not that way. Yeah, it would need to go that way. So maybe I won't do a belly band there. But I kind of like this concept of I'll put this on top of something else to make a belly band, and then maybe showcase one of them, something along those lines. I think I have a black one too. Maybe I'll use the black one to make it stand out more. No, that's too stark. I don't know. Maybe it's not. See how pretty that is? I really like that. So maybe I'll find a page that I want to use that on. But for now, this page, I'm going to look and see what I've already got. Here are the cards. She had also sent a note with the ready-made ephemera that she blatantly copied this from Jibbit Neri, and I was lucky enough to purchase one of these from Jibbit when she first came out with them. Absolutely love it, so I'm definitely going to create a pocket to tuck that in. You know what? She sent me these two really cool letters, my initials. Maybe I'll make, you know what? Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll make a double pocket there. I'll leave this open to put a pocket here, and I'll leave the top open to put a pocket there. Yeah, I kind of like that. All right, so that is what I'm going to do with this page. And I'm going to glue it on 3 sides just to make the pocket. Okay, there's that. And so my initials, and I think I'll put this one down here. And I'll glue it on 3 sides also. I'd love to offer tips, which is what I normally do, but since I'm kind of winging it, I don't even really know what I would say. I figured I'd go for about 30 minutes, and I haven't even looked. Maybe I've chattered too much and I'm already there. I would love to hear your thoughts if you don't mind sharing. Do you want to see me put together this whole journal, or would you prefer a flip through once it's done? Because I'm not really 100% sure how I intend to do it. And then I'll come back and I'll tuck probably notes or something that I received once they're dry in both of these two. And this, I don't think I'm going to decorate this, simply because you can see it's already starting to tear. It's really thin and it's just really pretty. But this one's got some great real estate. So maybe I'll put something on top of this. This was one of the bits that was included. So maybe I will put this, or maybe more contrast. And this, I should show you the bits that are already done. So here is one, here is one. There's one, there's another. I'm not sure which is right side up on that one. I guess it doesn't really matter. And then the note card, and then this really pretty little tuck, I guess, and some playing cards, and this stack of journal cards. And again, I probably will break that apart, not because I don't love it the way it is, I do, but because I want to stretch it out a bit. And then here is another bit that looks like that birch bark again, which is really cool. And then the one we made together, yeah, it's a little too small. And I almost feel like it would be too busy, like if I were to put a bag on here, and that's too small. So I'm not really sure. I've got more paper and such, but we're almost at 30 minutes, and I told myself I wouldn't go past 30 minutes. But that is where I am right now. That's what I've gotten started. If you would like to see more online or on video or camera, just let me know, and if you'd rather, I moved on to these mini journals, and I'm almost ready to release those videos. Just maybe another couple days worth of work. Gosh, what else did I want to say? So thank you to everyone who so generously and kindly gifted me Happy Mail. It's been a lot of fun to create this. It's outside of my comfort zone. It's outside of my norm, but I'm really enjoying the challenge and the process. Thank you all. Take care and happy creating.